A woman wrote to me 3 days ago. I'll call her Eleanor. She's 68, lives in a small town in Maine, and in her message she said something I haven't been able to stop thinking about. She wrote, "Luna, on Friday night something old broke open in me. I didn't cry. I didn't write to anyone. I just stood at the kitchen sink. And now I don't know what to do with what I saw." I pulled up her chart, and what I found in it made me stop and read it twice. Because Eleanor's Friday night isn't just Eleanor's. It's happening, in some version, in some kitchen, at some sink, in some quiet, to thousands of you watching this right now. And what you do in the next 48 hours matters more than what you saw on Friday. That's why I had to record this today. I'm Luna Solano. For 40 years I've been reading charts through every kind of human story: divorce, loss, reinvention. The slow, unglamorous work of becoming who you actually are at 60, 65, 70. And in those 40 years of charts, I've learned one thing about Scorpio full moons that almost no one says out loud. The wound doesn't heal at the moment you see it. It heals in the days right after, when you stop rushing it. Today is Saturday, May 3rd. The full moon in Scorpio peaked 48 hours ago at 11 degrees and 21 minutes on Friday at 1:23 Eastern Daylight Time. By the time you're hearing this, that moon has moved on. She's a waning gibbous in Sagittarius now, 94% illuminated, still emotionally loud, but already softer. And the next 72 hours, this weekend into Monday, are the part of the reckoning that nobody talks about. If you've been feeling unsettled since Friday, like something inside your chest has been moving without your permission, you're not imagining it. The stars are confirming what you've already been sensing. Let me tell you what I saw in Eleanor's chart, and then I'll tell you what it means for your life specifically. Because what happened to her on Friday is happening in some shape to so many of you right now. Eleanor has natal moon at 13 degrees of Scorpio, which means the full moon on Friday landed almost exactly on her natal moon, within 2 degrees. For her, the cosmic spotlight was personal. The opposition from the sun in Taurus was hitting her natal 8th house, the house of grief, of inheritance, of what gets passed down through families that nobody quite names. And Pluto, squaring the lunation from Aquarius, was activating her 10th house, the part of the chart that asks, who are you in the eyes of the world, and how much of that is still true? When I saw those 3 things together, natal moon hit, 8th house grief, 10th house identity, I understood why she stood at the sink without crying and without speaking. She wasn't shut down. She was being witnessed by something larger than herself, and her body knew, before her mind did, that this wasn't a moment to act. It was a moment to receive. And here's the part that broke my heart, and that I want every one of you to hear. In Eleanor's email, she wrote, "I'm 68. I should know what to do with feelings by now. I should be past this." No, my love, No, you're not past it. You were carrying it. And what your generation has been carrying quietly for decades finally got a Friday night where the cosmos said, "Put it down for a moment so you can look at what it actually is." That's not behind. That's not late. That's right on time. This is the part nobody talks about. Let me show you the sky right now. Because what's happening above you in these 48 to 72 hours after the full moon is doing very specific work, and most people will rush through it, missing the gift. The moon, as I said, is in Sagittarius now. She's leaving Scorpio's depth and walking into a different kind of light, the philosophical, expansive light of the centaur. That's not accidental. The cosmos doesn't make mistakes. This timing is deliberate. After Scorpio's depth, you're being moved into Sagittarius's perspective. But the medicine of the weekend is staying in the body, not climbing into the mind too fast. Mercury entered Taurus yesterday, Saturday at the very early hours, 10:57 Universal Time on Friday night Eastern, which means starting now, your conversations want to be slow, concrete, embodied. The frantic, mental, last week Aries Mercury way of talking is gone. Taurus Mercury wants real words about real things, said with real time around them. Venus is still finishing her sextile to Saturn. The aspect was exact during the full moon, with an orb of less than 5 minutes of arc. That's a very rare degree of precision. And what Venus-Saturn at that closeness offers is this: structured honesty, conversations about commitments, financial, relational, lifelong, that hold their shape because Saturn is steadying them. And Mars, in Cancer, is in an applying square to Jupiter, about 2 degrees of orb. This is the warning aspect. This is the planet of impulse meeting the planet of emotional stakes. And it pulls, in this exact window, toward overreach. The midnight text, the dramatic walkout, the decision you'll regret on Monday. I'll be honest with you. When I first saw that Mars-Jupiter square applying right through this aftermath weekend, I had to read it twice, because it explains why so many of you are walking around with your finger over someone's name in your phone, wanting to send, wanting to fix, wanting to resolve. Don't. Not this weekend. The stars are not against you. They never were. They're protecting you from yourself, just for 48 hours, while the wound seals. The Sabian symbol for the degree of the full moon, 12 degrees of Scorpio, in Marc Edmund Jones's canonical reading from 1925, is an embassy ball. I want to sit with that for a moment, because it's not what you'd expect for Scorpio. Jones wrote that this symbol represents the capacity of the social order to translate immediate personal feelings into something that serves a larger structure. Personal effort surrendered to the greater whole. And what that means in plain language, in your kitchen, in your living room, on your couch this weekend, is that the cosmos is asking you to take what you saw on Friday night and not act on it yet, not text it, not announce it, not turn it into a decision. Let it walk into a slower room first. The ancient astrologers knew this moment was coming. The Babylonians had a term for the days right after a Scorpio full moon. They called it the closing of the chamber. The chamber being the inner sanctum where the truth had just been seen. The closing being the deliberate ritual act of letting the seen truth rest before bringing it into the world. For 40 years of chart reading, I've watched what happens to people who close the chamber properly versus those who don't. The ones who rush, who fire off the message Saturday morning, who call the lawyer Sunday afternoon, who post the status, almost always have to undo something within 30 days. The ones who wait, who let the Sagittarius moon walk them through the weekend without a single dramatic action, almost always say later, "I'm so glad I didn't." This hasn't happened with this exact configuration since May of 1965, the same month Saturn was in Pisces, and the United States was watching what had been buried for a decade come up to the surface in Selma. It happened again in 1988, when the Soviet Union's tightly closed chamber began to open under Glasnost, and again in 2007, the May before the financial crisis broke into public view, when what had been buried beneath the housing market started showing its face in the spring. Every time the Scorpio full moon at this approximate degree has fired, the same pattern has played out. The surface cracks, what's underneath becomes visible, and then, for 48 to 72 hours, the wisest among us have known to wait. Not because nothing should change, but because what changes from inside the chamber lasts. What changes from outside it, rushed, declared, posted, almost always reverses. Let me give you the 3 messages this aftermath weekend is offering you, and I want you to hear all 3 before I tell you which signs are most affected. Because even if your sun sign isn't on the list, one of these messages is for you. The first message is for your body. Listen carefully. The wound that healed itself while you slept. Moon trine Jupiter in Cancer was active during the full moon peak, and that aspect, more than any other, is the reason you slept on Friday night, even though something in you was breaking open. Jupiter in Cancer expands emotional capacity without overwhelming. It's the cosmic equivalent of a soft container being placed under what would otherwise spill. So if you woke up on Saturday morning, that's today, feeling that something inside weighs less, but you can't explain why, you're not imagining it. Your body did the work invisibly. Your nervous system completed something while you slept that took years to set up. Of course your shoulders feel different. Your body processed something on Friday night that your mind hasn't named yet. And here's what I'd tell you, after 40 years of watching this exact moment unfold in chart after chart. Don't make your mind catch up. Not yet. Let your body lead this weekend. If you want a nap, nap. If you want silence, take it. If you want a long walk without your phone, that's not avoidance, that's integration. The second message is for your relationships. The conversation you don't have to have yet. Mars square Jupiter in Cancer is doing something specific to all of you watching. It's creating the urgent feeling that something must be said. To the husband, the daughter, the sister you haven't called in 2 years, the friend who hurt you in 2019, the doctor, the therapist, the neighbor, anyone. The pressure is to fix it all now. I want to be honest with you about something most astrologers won't say. That urgency you're feeling, it is not healing. It's the same wound asking you to bandage it before the air gets to it. If you have your finger over someone's name in your phone right now, and you have thought about texting them 5, 6, 7 times this weekend, please hear me. That isn't clarity. That's the last heartbeat of the full moon. And Mercury just entered Taurus, which means the conversations that matter most are about to want concrete words and slow time. The phone call you make on Sunday at 9 p.m. will not land the way the same phone call would land on Wednesday at 6. In my 40 years of chart reading, the Scorpio full moon aftermath has one consistent lesson. The relationships that needed real repair, the ones the full moon actually showed you needed real repair, those don't need to be repaired this weekend. The ones that needed the dramatic announcement, those weren't the real ones. They were the easy ones. The brave ones happen on Wednesday. The third message is for your spirit, and this one is the deepest. The generation asked to witness without acting. If you've spent 50, 60, 70 years fixing things for other people, for your children, your parents, your husband, your siblings, your community, and this weekend something inside you said, "Not this time, not anymore," that is not coldness. That is not selfishness. That is not a personality change. That is Pluto in Aquarius speaking through the waning moon, and your chart is recognizing it. The Sabian symbol of the embassy ball points to surrendering personal feelings to a larger structure. And the larger structure your generation is being initiated into right now is this. You are no longer the one who fixes. You are becoming the one who witnesses. That's a profound role. The witness is the person whose presence makes the truth bearable for everyone else. The witness is more powerful than the fixer ever was, and it takes most of a lifetime to be ready for it. You haven't gone cold. You've gone honest. There's a difference. And your chart knows. Now let me show you the 3 signs most powerfully affected by this aftermath. And I want to remind you, even if your sun sign isn't here, check your rising sign. That's the lens through which this energy enters your specific life. If you are a Scorpio, or if Scorpio is rising, the full moon was you. Personally, in your first house. The aftermath this weekend is asking your body to integrate what your psyche just saw. Don't take any decision that lasts longer than a week before next Saturday. Sleep more than you think you need. Drink more water than you think you need. And the one specific action, write one sentence on a piece of paper that begins with, "What I'm not yet ready to act on is," and put the paper inside a book until the last quarter on May 9th. If you are a Taurus, or if Taurus is rising, the sun was on you during the full moon, illuminating you from the outside, while Scorpio worked you from the inside. The aftermath shows you what your body has been carrying that isn't yours. A grief that belongs to your mother, a worry that belongs to your husband, a weight that belongs to a generation. With Mercury just entering Taurus, you now have the language to name it. The action. Pick one small thing, physical, concrete, that you have been carrying for someone else, and put it down. Just one. Just this weekend. If you are an Aquarius, or if Aquarius is rising, Pluto was squaring the full moon from your sign, activating your 10th house of vocation and visible identity. The aftermath is showing you that who you've been pretending to be in public no longer fits who you actually are at home. This is uncomfortable, and I'm not going to pretend it isn't. But discomfort right now is data, not error. The action. Spend 1 hour this weekend somewhere where no one knows your name. A park, a bookstore, a walk. Be no one for 60 minutes and notice what you actually want to be when you come back. Even if your sun sign isn't listed, check your rising sign. That's the lens through which this aftermath enters your specific life. So I've shown you the sky, traced the history, told you about Eleanor, who is also you. The question I get most this weekend is, Luna, what do I actually do with this? I want to give you a ritual, something specific, something for tonight or tomorrow night after the sun sets. It takes less than 15 minutes, and you don't need to buy a single thing. You'll need a piece of paper that hasn't been used, any pen, a candle, white or cream, whichever you already have. Please don't go buy one. And a glass of room temperature water. Light the candle. Set the water in front of you. Sit without speaking for 1 full breath in and out. Then write on the paper 1 sentence that begins with these exact words. What I saw on Friday that I'm not yet ready to act on is... And keep writing until your hand stops on its own, not before. The honest list will tell you when it's complete. Here's the part that matters most and that I want you to do exactly as I'm telling you. Fold the paper inward, toward your body, not away from you the way you fold a letter you're sending, inward, because you are not casting this away, you are completing it. You are placing it in a chamber inside yourself that the cosmos has just helped you build. Take 1 sip of the water and say these words out loud, actually out loud, even if you live alone, especially if you live alone. I am not behind, I am integrating. What was revealed is being honored. I will not rush what the cosmos took the trouble to surface. Then blow the candle out with 1 breath. Put the folded paper inside a book. Don't open it until the last quarter moon on May 9th. After 40 years of watching people move through these cycles, here's what I've seen actually work. The ones who let Friday night's revelation rest for 1 full week before doing anything about it, those are the ones who 3 months later write back to me saying, I can't believe how clean that decision became when I waited. The ones who acted on Saturday or Sunday, those almost always have to rebuild the bridge they burned within 30 days. 3 months ago, by the way, Eleanor wrote to me again. After the last Scorpio season's reckoning, she said, "I waited the way you told me. The week after, I knew exactly which conversation to have, and it didn't burn down anything. I just spoke the truth, and the people who were ready for it stayed. That's what I want for you this weekend. A few questions I know you're already asking. How long do I have to work with this energy? Until next Saturday at the latest. The last quarter on May 9th in Aquarius is when the next chamber opens. Until then, wait, witness, integrate. What if I've already sent the text? Don't send the second one. The first one was Friday night talking. Let the response come on its own timing. What if my sign wasn't mentioned? Check your rising. And if your rising isn't listed either, then this weekend the message for you is simpler. Your nervous system just had a long week, and it's asking for one slow Sunday. Give it that. What if I try this and nothing changes? Something is changing. You may not see it for 30 days. The full moon in Sagittarius on June 1st will show you what was integrated. Trust the timing. The cosmos doesn't make mistakes. Here's what I want you to walk away with today. 3 things. That's it. Everything else is commentary. First, the wound that broke open Friday night is already healing. Your body knows. Don't override it with your mind. Second, the conversations and decisions that feel urgent right now are the same wound asking you to bandage it before the air gets to it. Wait until Wednesday. Third, your generation isn't being asked to fix anymore. You're being asked to witness. That role is sacred. That role is enough. Tell me in the comments below, which of those 3 landed most powerfully for you this weekend? Or, and only if you want to share, what's the one sentence you wrote on the paper with no names, just the feeling? You don't have to face this alone. I read every word, and what you share guides what I explore next. Until next time, keep looking up. This is Luna Solano. One more thing before I go, because this is the part that I almost cut from the script and then I couldn't. If you're 60, 65, 70, and somewhere this weekend a small voice told you that the way you've lived your whole life, keeping the peace, holding the room together, never letting anyone see the weight you were carrying. If a small voice told you that you don't have to do that anymore, please don't argue with it. That voice is your chart catching up to your soul. That voice is 40 years of charts I've read, finally being said out loud. You are not broken. You are becoming. Luna.